Welcome to a Cincy fan talking with LP, and this is your host, LP. Kind of quick on those cheers, but definitely appreciate it. You gotta love the fake cheers, man. So what's good, y'all? It's LP. Welcome back to the pod. Glad y'all sticking and staying. Had a little bit of technical difficulty on Sunday, which kind of messed things up. But I'm actually glad that it happened because right after the Bengals game, I don't feel like the takes were, what's the word? I mean, they were appropriate, but I don't really think they was well thought out. It was more like I just saw the game and this happened and that happened, and it was more like that fake emotional stuff they do on like the big shows or whatever, where like the debates and I felt like some of that stuff was kind of outlandish. I was talking about, so I like to pride myself on having sensible takes. They're not necessarily the takes that are like, oh my God, I can't believe LP said that. It's more like, damn, that kind of makes sense. Like, I really kind of be on that with whatever I talk about. And if it's controversial, it's not me faking it. It's more like that's what I think and that's what I said. I try to steer clear of the shock value stuff. That's not really what I do. Like, I'm a teacher. I'm not really trying to shock you with what I'm saying. I mean, it's just what I think. And I feel like if you really think it, then that should come out. So I'm kind of glad that it happened because I can keep my stuff more sensible. But anywho, welcome back. We got some stuff to talk about. Talk about how the Bengals are 1-0. I don't even know how to take that. Like, last time I remember being 1-0, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. Could that be that? Let's slow down, LP. Chill out. We talking about Ohio State expectations. We talking about quarterback expectations. And my buddy, one of my teacher buddies, gave me a little idea that I'm gonna spring on y'all when I talk about what I saw on YouTube. So we got stuff like that. The Bengals won. It wasn't pretty. And I had a lot of people hit me up online, like, on the socials, like, hey, LP, you're a little scared right now? I mean, the Bengals probably should have lost, you know what I'm saying? This was my response, and this is like my stock response to that. The Bengals went 9-8 last year. The Bengals went 9-8 the year before. In those 2 years, I can't count how many games they lost that were like this. They played well enough to win, but McPherson would miss a field goal, or somebody will fumble, or somebody will make some BS call or something like that. And the Bengals ended up taking the L. The offense would show up and put up 40, but the defense would play like mud and give up 41, and the Bengals lose 41-40. So I feel like the Bengals were due for a win like this. I'm glad it was against the Browns. Shout out to my Browns fans. I love y'all. Half my family's up in Cleveland. If you listen to the pod, you know that. But yeah, the dub is ours. And I'm not hearing anything about, y'all look bad doing it. It's going to be bad for the rest of the year. Nah, we pulled out a game that we shouldn't have won. If you are going to be a playoff team or a Super Bowl contending team or a Super Bowl winning team, you have to win games that you probably shouldn't win. The Patriots made a living off of winning games they had no business winning during their Super Bowl runs. The Chiefs last year, count how many games they should have lost. The Bengals should have beat them. The Broncos should have beat them. Like, you can go down the list. There were so many one-score games that they pulled out, and it was all, they have that championship DNA. You know what I'm saying? That whole BS. They know how to pull games out. Their season, their experience. But when the Bengals do it, they got lucky. Smoke and mirrors. Nah, man. If you're going to be a playoff team, You got to figure out ways to win games that you shouldn't have a prayer of winning. The way the Bengals play offense and the way the Browns play defense probably shouldn't have been a close game. But the Bengals defense kept finding ways to keep us in it. And the offense did just enough. We said all year, all summer, if the Bengals could find a way to get their defense to just play mid, just be just be mid. 14th best, 13th best, 17th best. If they could just do that, we on the board. There's no way the Bengals deep offense is going to play like this again, y'all. I'm telling you. Let me get up for a quick second. There's no way the Bengals offense will play like this for the whole year. It's not going to happen. Hopefully the defense will show up like they did in the game we just saw, and it'll be all peaches and cream. We'll see. The Bengals are 1-0. Jacksonville rolling into town. I predict that the Bengals offense will show up and the defense will play a little bit worse than they did. Final score, Bengals 31, Jacksonville, let's say 23. 31-23 will be the final. Go ahead, lock it up. Go ahead, put all your bets on that. If you got money, throw it up. Psych, chill. Don't do that. I'll put you on with some people if you really want to go the gambling route. I would strongly suggest you really don't bet on NFL football. Like, it's not the move. That's not a good way to make a living. Unless you like my boys Kurt and Steve and you putting down just, like a quick $5 holler, you could do that. But don't mortgage the baby's future on NFL games. They're too unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. So that's just my little tidbit. Ohio State beat Grambling State. Not a surprise. 70-0. You can't really gloat about that. I mean, what are they? FCS? I don't know. They band did their thing. Go on YouTube. Check out Grambling State's band. You can see Ohio State's marching band watching Grambling's marching band. And I tell you what, the Ohio State band, they was into it. They was like, oh, so that's how you get down south. They was feeling it. It was really cool to see stuff like that, the kids interacting, because really that's what college is about. That's what college should be about, especially collegiate sports. I mean, we know why Grambling State was there. They was in there for the money. I mean, that's not embarrassing to say. The basketball team and the football team playing those back games like that, it helps Ohio State because they can kind of get their footing. And it helps Grambling State because they can keep the lights on. They can help their athletic department. They can run the Olympic sports because they're taking those paychecks. It's messed up that college football is still like that. I remember a time when you had really good football players like your Jerry Rices and stuff like that. They were going to HBCUs. I mean, Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley State. He came out the best, argue with a wall, the best wide receiver ever. I say that with a little bit of hate because if you're a Bengals fan, you can't really be a San Francisco 49ers fan. I mean, they beat us at the Super Bowl twice. But if you saying Jerry Rice is not in your top 3 or top 5, you're insane. You're crazy. It's messed up that college football is still in a state of haves versus have-nots. And the haves, I love my Buckeyes, but it's really messed up that the haves are so far away from the have-nots. And people are like, NIL is going to change everything. No, it's not. Because what's going to happen is the haves with the unlimited bankroll. Hey, I went to Ohio State. My wife went to Ohio State. My daughter went to Ohio State. They got dough. They got long money. Money longer than train smoke. So when I tell you the athletic department and the donors are more than willing to fork over that money, trust me on this. And there are some schools like that. They're going to keep pulling away from, I won't even call them the have-nots. have less stands. In the FCS level, they're that kind of like the have-nots because they didn't really have the dough like that. But you're gonna see, I would say, 10 to 12 programs really start throwing money around to the point where you're gonna go like, all the kids are going there because they want the dough. It's messed up that it's like that, but that's kind of how college football wants it. I remember college football being a really regionalized game. It was really based off of regions. And you had the Midwest kind of clustered up, and you had down south kind of clustered up, and you had out west kind of clustered up. And they really only met in bowl games or really big collegiate football regular season games. It's not like that now. It's all about the money. It's that paper chase, y'all. So it makes sense for Oregon to be in the Big Ten. It makes sense for Oklahoma to get out of the Big 12 and get into the SEC because that's where the dough is. It makes sense for Stanford to be in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Did y'all hear that? California, next to the Pacific Ocean, is in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Why? Easy. Money. And when you put it in terms of money, it makes perfect sense. It makes no sense in any other realm of sense. But when you put the money down, everybody's like, oh, I get it. All we can do is enjoy the football for real. It won't be the last time things change. Personally, I think the group of five should just make their own playoff. Me personally, because they would get all types of money. But we'll see what happens. And one thing about Ohio State, and it's been like this for decades, I said this before, there's only a couple of schools like this. Alabama, maybe you can say Georgia, maybe Texas, you can say maybe. But there's a limited amount of schools. 10-2 just won't cut it. 9-3, we're upset. 8-4, heads are rolling. It's not like this in like 98% of the schools that you see. Michigan just came off a 7-5 season. Now, of course, it was a little bit better because they beat us, so they felt better, and then they beat Alabama, so they felt pretty good going into the year. But check it out. Ohio State goes 7-5. They beat Michigan. Win a bowl game. You think we're happy? We would say stuff like, but at least they beat Michigan. But we're not happy. There's no way. Do you know what? Ryan Day, he said it best. He's like, I can't lose a football game. We can't lose a football game. And he was like, I embraced that. I embraced the challenge because I knew that going in. I think that's a life lesson. If people are real enough to let you know what's going on before it happens, you kind of appreciate that a little bit more. It lets you make decisions based off of what's actually going to happen. My last year at this one school I was at, I get a call from the principal, and he tells me, like, we want you at this school. I'm like, sure. And he's like, I'm going to let you know right now. You won't have a classroom. You'll be a traveling teacher. And you're basically going to teach intervention classes all day. So you'll be traveling on the cart from class to class, and you'll just be doing intervention classes. So you're going to help kids fill in those gaps. You have a room with like 20 kids, and you're filling in the gaps as far as math is concerned. I'm asking if you can do this because we know you can do it. We know you don't need a lot of supervision. You can kind of do your own thing. You can set up your own program. I'm like, this kind of sucks, but I like the limited intervention. I like the fact that y'all not all over me. And he let me make my own decision. I'm like, you know what? I feel like I can do this. Had I jumped into there and I'm like, okay, I got to decorate my classroom. Now, if you don't have a classroom. Well, okay, I need my list of kids so I can go ahead and see. Now you got to figure out your own thing. Say what? Yeah, we don't have a program for you. You do what you do. Why didn't y'all tell me that before? I don't know. I would be like, dude, y'all tripping. Let me get up out of here. I feel like that's like that with Ohio State and Alabama and Texas. If you're a high profile wide receiver, you know what you're getting into. You know you're dealing with the fan base that's like, look, we want W's. We want to go 12-0 every year. We want to win a title every year. You want a title this year? Yay! 2 weeks later. So we're doing about next year. We just won a title. Yeah, I know, that's great. What we doing next year? Certain players want that. They want that pressure. They want those expectations. Like they want to be held to a higher standard. Me personally, I can't say like, athletically, you know, I ain't got that skill level. But teaching wise, like I want to be held to a higher level. I feel like I could perform at the highest level teacher wise. I can make my kids perform at the highest level. Like I can say things and teach them and motivate them to a point where they can perform at the highest level. I feel like I can do that. So I'm good with the pressure. Some people aren't. And that's cool. They can go different places where the light isn't that bright. NIL is going to do that. I feel like the trade off is like, now we really think these kids are professionals. And that's what's happening with like a Bryce Underwood. And that's what happened with an Arch Manning. They getting paid out the wazoo. I think Bryce Underwood got like, what, 10 million or something like that? I don't know. But it was a nice little handsome sum for a kid that's 18. That comes with a whole lot of pressure because people know how much money you got. You being touted as this big thing. And you go out there and you don't perform as well. Now people are like, they not using you right. You're not playing good. You might not be that good. Slow down. Don't let the money mess up the fact that, and this is me actually touting the kid from Michigan. So you know it's real. They're still kids. Yeah, they got a lot of money. And we're told in America, if you get paid, you're a professional. It's not like that. They're getting paid because they were good at what they did in high school. This is college now. These are still kids. They're going to do childlike things because they're still children for real. They are not going to play up the expectations because they're like 18, 19, 20 years old. You're walking into a place like Oklahoma with all those people at night, first time on the road, against a defensive play caller like Brent Venables, who knows what he's doing. Stuff can get a little hazy. Arch Manning walked into Ohio State against Matt Patricia. This man has Super Bowls. I mean, he's disguising things in a ridiculous manner. Arch Manning has no clue what he's looking at. That's how it be. So, give him time. I hope that Bryce Underwood has a really good season until he plays Ohio State. Then he has a really bad game. And then he has like a great rest of the season. That's what I want for him. Because I tell the people, I tell people this all the time. I don't hate the Michigan players. I just hate the uniform. For real. I only hate them. Like, I really don't like them Thanksgiving weekend. I hate watching them because I don't want them to win games for real. But I'm not about to be like, everything Michigan I hate. Nothing yellow in this house. It's never that deep. Like, I'll have friends that won't use the letter M for the whole Michigan week. I'm like, come on, man. You big blood out here now? You a gang member? We not using M's? So if I want to say mayonnaise, I got to say what? Oames? I got to use O's instead of M's? That's just awkward. I'm not doing all that. Just let me hate Michigan in my own way. You know what I'm saying? I would appreciate that. But ease up off the young fellas for real. Don't let the money make you think that these guys and girls are professionals, because they're not. We already had to talk about like being a good fan, so I'm gonna go ahead and sum this up in a minute, probably less. Your ticket does not mean you get to do whatever you want to the players. You can't hit the players. You can't touch the players. You can't slap the players on their helmet. You can't push the players. You can't hit somebody like Lamar Jackson and not expect them to hit you back. You hit a player during a football game where they're trained to hit people. What do you think's going to happen? Oh, I just hit the quarterback. The quarterback wants to hit somebody. They never get to hit people. So, of course, he's going to push you. You hit him. At school, I'm always telling the kids, it's not right to put your hands on people. Keep your hands to yourself. Because if somebody hits you, guess what might happen? You might get hit back. And then it's all, hey, teacher, he just hit me. We got both in trouble. You hit him. I mean, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's what happens. Like, we're not about to just let people hit kids. We're not about to just let people hit athletes. That's why athletes get paid out that money. They got to put up with y'all. They got to put up with these fans. Real talk. Let these players do what they do. Just boo them. That's all you got to do. Or cheer for them. That's it. Oh, man. Like, they really be tripping me out with this fan stuff. All right, man. I feel like it's about time to head out. So before I roll out, a buddy of mine, he likes listening to the podcast. Like, he enjoys me just ranting and raving to myself. Like, I don't know why he likes it, but he's like, dude, you be on some dumb stuff. I'm like, thank you very much. And he's like, you know what you should do? I'm like, what say you? He's like, you know how you always like laughing at the teacher movies and stuff like that? He's like, you should actually rank the teacher movies. I'm like, dude, you came up with a whale of a plan there. I was actually watching a teacher movie when he said that. I was like watching it during like my planning time because I had nothing to plan and I wanted a break from talking to kids. So I'm watching a teacher movie on my phone. So I'm like, I'm gonna start with that movie. Here's the plan. Each week, I'll watch a teacher movie. In most cases, I'll rewatch a teacher movie. I'm looking at a long list of teacher movies. Some of these I've never seen. Some of these I know are bad. Some of these I kind of get with. And I'll kind of rank them. You know, we'll have like a real life flow chart. We'll do it like that. I was watching on YouTube 187. If you've never heard of this movie, or you're like, dang, I think I heard this movie, but dang, that was a while ago. It was a while ago. This came out like 97, 98. I actually rented this movie and watched it for the first time in 98. And after I watched the movie, I still kind of wanted to be a teacher, which is kind of sick in the head when you hear the plot of the movie. So, here's the plot. This is like my brief synopsis of 187. It stars Samuel L. Jackson. He's the main person in the movie. In this movie, he's working at a school in New York. He gets attacked by a student, Method Man, playing a high school student. Why do we always do that in the 90s? We had like the oldest people playing like 15, 16-year-olds. Like it really like messed with me as a kid because I'm like, am I supposed to look like that? Because it would always be like a 25, 26-year-old playing like a sophomore. And I'd be like, it's a lot of facial hair for a 10th grader. Should we look like that? I don't think so. But anywho. So Method Man attacked Samuel L. Jackson. Like hit him a good amount of times with a rusty knife. So this was in New York. Jackson heals up, gets better, moves all the way to LA, takes a substitution job at a school. And this school is like awful. Well, the classroom that he was in, it was actually like a bungalow, you know, like the trailers. Us 90s kids, we know about those trailers. We had a lot of classes in those trailers. They had him in like a little bungalow, and he had to teach there. And this was like a Hispanic school, you know, a lot of Hispanics, and they're giving him grief, but he's hanging with it. And there's like this group of gangsters, and they're like really messing with him, and he's messing with them back. They steal his watch. Jackson goes into the locker and steals the watch back. And then it kind of gets a little morbid because he meets like a lady teacher. He's kind of feeling her, and they're messing with the lady teacher. They're intimidating her and messing with her. So he decides to mess with them back. He real life like terminated a kid. Like he really did that. This was like a mean spirited kid, like a big kid. He looked about 22, but he was really like 16. He terminated this guy. He was really messing with him. He terminated the kid. This really happened. He cut off a kid's finger. This kid was messing with him too, so he kind of messed. It was wild. Like, it was weird because the teacher, in his mind, he was like, he felt like this is what he should do. His background was a student kind of took who he was. He really wanted to be a teacher. He really wanted to do well being a teacher. He wanted to help kids. And he felt like that guy that stabbed him in the beginning of the movie robbed him of that. And he took that out on these kids. And these kids weren't the best kids. They did a lot of mean things to a lot of people. But as a teacher, you can't do stuff like that. And in the end, he ends up killing himself. And then one of the other students ends up killing himself. I won't tell you how it happened, but it was absolutely wild. The movie ends, and I'm looking like, I forgot how wild this movie was. It was wild. And the teacher wrote the movie. On the rating scale, I gave this an 8 out of 10 because of 3 reasons. One, it's unique as hell. Teacher movies usually have a plot where a teacher, usually white, comes into a classroom of kids, usually black, and she normally uplifts these kids to the point where they achieve things that they never could dream of before. And then there's like a round of applause for the teacher, and the kids love the teacher, and yay. If you're a teacher, you know it doesn't go like that. There's like a loop-de-loop of curves you have to get to before you get the respect of the kids in that way. And it usually takes longer than a year. It definitely doesn't happen in 2 hours. Let me tell you. 187 turned that whole plot on its head. And I remember watching that for the first time. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen next. It is dark. There are no laughs in this movie. And it's one of those movies that make you go like, a teacher is going to snap like this one day. Because, like I said before, this teacher really feel like he got robbed of the one thing he wanted to do with his life. That was kind of the takeaway I got from it. When you take something from somebody that means the world to them, there's no rationale at how they're going to react. He felt like his career got taken. And his reaction, he felt like was valid. But society would say no. Rational people would say no. And that's what I kind of dug about the movie, because it's not your normal teacher movie. So if you go to watch this, well, that's like my first thing. It wasn't like a typical teacher movie. And the second thing is, it was really acted well. Clifton Collins was in it. He's the guy that did one of the voices on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You'll notice a lot of the Hispanic people are people you've seen in movies since then. I don't really remember what they played in, but I've seen them in a lot of stuff. And they did a really good job, even though they looked way too old to play the characters that they were playing. They did a really good job in the roles. You could kind of see how life took them in this situation, and they can't get out even if they want to. Because you can tell one of the characters, he knows the life he's living is trash, but he's like, this is all I got. There's nothing else I can do. You can't help me. Nobody can really help me. And it was really powerful to see like he's stuck and he knows he's stuck, but he can't get out of the mud. Even if he wants to get out of the mud, he has a whole group of people that is quite content with him staying in the mud. That was my second takeaway. And my third takeaway was that the plot was just interesting. The way that it kind of went like circular, and at the end it takes you all the way back to the beginning. I really dig movies like that. I like where it's like no wasted scenes. There are no throwaway scenes. A scene that's there to kind of like just kind of like pass the time, to be unique. It's not like that. Every scene there tied into the overall arc of the story. I like shows like that. I like movies like that. That's why I like The Wire so much, because there weren't any throwaway scenes. Something will happen in season 2 and you'll get to season 4 and you'll go like, "Oh, so that's why that happened." There's no wasted time. I like that. So I would definitely recommend it. Again, it's dark. Like it's not for the faint of heart. But 8 out of 10. I don't know where it falls yet in my ranking of teacher movies, but right now it's number one because it has to be number one because there's only one movie I watched. So we'll keep going down the list and we'll see what happens. Um, Go Reds. We 3 games back. I don't know if it's gonna happen. Color me pessimistic, but gotta keep winning to hope some other teams lose. Um, and before I head out, September 11th, as per my recording, will be tomorrow. Um, just don't forget. It was a really dark time. I still remember exactly where I was when it happened. I remember the entire country just shutting down. Like everything stopped. And it's one of those moments in life where you go like things will never be the same after this. And you just know it. Like we're watching television and we're seeing the buildings like smoking. And we just kind of looked at each other, me and my roommates, and we're like, things are going to be different from now on. And it's true. Things have been different pretty much for the rest of my life after that. Everything is kind of seen in the lens of that. I think generationally wise, I think COVID was that for my kids. They kind of looked around and they were like, things aren't going to be the way it was anymore. And true to form, it hasn't been. America's not going to be the same. That was kind of like our event. My mother was telling me for her parents, it was the day JFK got shot. And it was the day Dr. Martin Luther King got shot for them. They were like, things aren't going to be the same after that happened. I think every generation has like that one event where you just kind of look around and go like, life can't really go back to the way it was. And for us, it was September 11th. I see the memes and the jokes about stuff like that. And like, I feel like it comes from a lot of people who just weren't born and weren't watching the Today Show when the Today Show cut from this guy talking about a book and just focused on a building for like 4 or 5 straight hours. And we were just all kind of just locked in looking like, wow, what is going on? So definitely say a prayer for everybody who lost somebody or everybody who's still feeling the effects from September 11th, because I mean, it's still real and, we all feel it everywhere. So on that note, we're going to go ahead out. Hope y'all like this show as the music comes through. And you can always hit me on the socials if you want to chat, yap it up. And life is good. Peace out, y'all.